All right, fellas, welcome to week 8. Blake won most wide receiver points with Evans, T.Y., and Jarvis Landry all going off for him. The payout for this week is most quarterback points. Last week's recap. Don Anderson scores 93. Brad scores 90. Brad lost by those 3 points. Chris Johnson just wasn't a factor late in the fourth quarter when the Cardinals were trying to sustain the Ravens. If that game would have went to overtime, I feel like Brad would have won. So, needless to say, Brad's 1-6, Dom's 3-4. Andy Nelson, another 1-6 team, lost to our division leader, Burt, 6-1, 175-91. Andy Nelson is reeling. I beat Andy Wallace, 146-75. Just nobody in Wallace's team just scored touchdowns. It's just a rough week for Wallace. He's still got a good squad. Scholl, 4-3. Loses to Leaper, who's 3-4, who climbs back into the playoff race. Another thing, Carson Palmer, John Brown, and the Cardinals defense loses by 7. Monday night, if that game went to overtime, Leaper probably would have lost. Sexual Napalm, Justin, 2-5. Beats Drew at 3-4. Drew, as we all know, picked up the Jaguars defense on Saturday. Didn't put him in his lineup at all. They sat on his bench. Jags played at 9:30 for the London game. They had like 28 points in the first 5 minutes. Drew texts me, says he wants to put the Jaguars in his lineup. Obviously, that didn't happen. He had to pick up the Dolphins. 12-point difference. Drew puts the Jaguars in. Drew wins against Justin. So that's a tough one for Drew to take. My brother, 4-3, beats Josh, 171-129. Josh still had a good game. I mean, Josh is putting up points. My dad, 5-2, beats Todd, who puts Todd at 4-3, 139-98. So several trades this week, actually. Many involving Green Bay Packers. The first one of the week, Leaper sends T.J. Yeldon and Leonard Hankerson to Scholl for Cameron Artis-Payne and Travis Benjamin. One of those trades where Leaper still won, but he probably would have started Robert Woods instead of Benjamin, but Leaper won, so it was okay. Then Donnie Anderson trades Martellus Bennett for Charles Clay. And then Don's not done. He trades DeMarco Murray, Brandon Marshall, and Tavon Austin for Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, and Chris Ivory to give himself another Packer. Wallace then trades Matt Jones for Stevie Johnson and Eddie Royal to Burt. So just another trade for Wallace started I don't think any of those guys last week. But then Don today wants another Packer. He decides he wants to start 8 Packers in his lineup. He goes Brandon Cooks to Burt for James Jones. And then my dad, just after that trade this afternoon, trades Latavius Murray, Marvin Jones, and Sammy Watkins for the aforementioned T.Y. Hilton, Roddy White, and the possible new third down back for the Texans in Chris Polk. So, our previews. We'll start with myself. I play my neighbor. I'm projected to win by 30. Leaper doesn't have his defense in there, so just put 10, so maybe a 20-point swing. Leaper has Dalton back. He's got Woodhead, Moncrief, Travis Benjamin, and Ladarius Green, who's going to be good with Gates out. And then I've still just got my normal squad with Eli, McFadden hopefully coming to do something. As the season has projected, I've beaten Leaper every single week except for week 6. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully I pull one out, but Leaper needs a win as well. My dad plays his neighbor in Brad, which is kind of ironic. My dad's projected to win by 45. Brad probably going to be starting Derek Carrier. Julius is unquestionable. He's got LaFell in his lineup, so this could be one of those things where LaFell, we'll see how good he is. Because as we know, that trade a couple weeks ago between my dad and Bradley. Drew plays Burt. 3-point spread, actually. Burt's got Deion Lewis, who's questionable. Is going to be a real legit game-time decision tomorrow night. Burt tried to get a couple running backs on waivers today. I have a feeling he's going to pick up a couple tomorrow, just in case thing. And Drew's got everybody back in his lineup now, so Drew's fully loaded. So it could be a big win for Drew if he knocks off Burt. Todd plays Josh. Josh is a 30-point favorite in this game. Todd's got Gates in there right now. I don't think Gates is going to play. He's avoiding the MRI, which is probably the reason why he's avoiding that MRI. And he's got his first-round pick in C.J. Anderson, who we're going to talk about first-round picks probably another week when we don't have as much of a headache tonight. And Josh has Devonta Freeman, who just consistently putting up points, and Jeffrey and Brown. We'll see what happens. Big Ben had a setback for Josh. So Andy Nelson, 1-6, plays the 4-3 Steve Scholl. Scholl's got everybody going. He's got Hankerson in there. Hankerson's not going to play. Andy Nelson has Peyton Manning, who is the 30th ranked quarterback out of, well, probably 40 that have played this year. But, geez, Peyton, just look at his stats. Andy's just going to go down swinging with him completely. Has went 5 points, 26, 22, 10, 7, and 11. If his name was not Peyton Manning, he would not be on anyone's roster. And to be talked about being benched. Justin plays the Green Bay Packers. Ja'Carrick West looking like that big fab waiver paid off last week, and Stephon Diggs. Justin's actually working pretty good with the waiver wires, guys. I mean, they don't look pretty. They're not name value, but they're productive guys. And Don has Aaron Rodgers, Randall Cobb, James Jones, Richard Rodgers. He put Alfred Blue in there now. Earlier he had James Starks. So he's actually only starting, if you count the Packers defense and the kicker, he's just starting the Packers wide receiver core from here on out, basically. So I talked to Don. He has he had a plan. He wasn't doing anything malicious. Everything's all good. Maybe I don't agree with his plan. I think 99% of the fantasy community would probably not agree that it's wise to have a huge investment in one team, especially, when it's 40 degrees in Green Bay, when they're playing Chicago, Dallas, later on in life. But they play Denver, who has a top-ranked defense. Carolina, who has a good defense next couple weeks. So we'll see how it pans out. Like Don said, they might not be on his team. Plus, Rodgers hasn't been one 300-yard game. So we'll see what happens. Either way, it's all good with Don. He explained he wasn't doing anything crazy. So moving on. So anyways, I love you all. I hope you enjoy your evenings. Obviously different scenery. The World Series in the background. I'm currently in Waukee. So no Andy Nelson and I talked about it. He's going to do it last night. So anyways, remote location this week. So enjoy.